on your TV. It's Tuesday, May 12th, and I'm Jessica Kading. Back in October of 2019, you may recall that Ryan Lord was shot and killed in Georgetown. He was found deceased outside of a residence in the area of Monarch Drive and Niagara Trail. This homicide investigation is still ongoing, and police are now asking the public for assistance in identifying this vehicle, which may be linked to the murder. It's a black four-door 2007 to 2009 Toyota Camry or similar model car. Police say it's possible this vehicle was rented, loaned, stolen, or sold between October and November of 2019. If you have any information that can assist officers, please call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. You can report there anonymously. It was about 10 o'clock on Saturday evening when OPP used their radar gun in Burlington and were shocked to confirm that an 18-year-old teenager was driving over 3 times the legal speed limit. Noah Loricella of Etobicoke is facing street racing and dangerous driving charges after clocking in at 308 kilometers per hour in his father's Mercedes. The vehicle has been towed and impounded. Fortunately, no one was injured. Meanwhile, Halton Police are dealing with speeding issues of their own. We spoke with Constable Ryan Anderson this afternoon, and they've seen a spike in stunt driving since social distancing began.
One thing we've noticed in particular in one district, we've seen probably the most charges laid is with the stunt driving. We've seen it in all districts, but in District 1, which is Milton, Halton Hills, we've seen probably the highest spike of that. And as we know, if you've been out, picking up groceries or anything, the roads are far more empty than what we would typically see during regular, non-pandemic times. And unfortunately, some people are trying to take advantage of that and driving way too fast. So what they should know is we're still out there with our LiDAR and our radar detectors, and we are certainly maintaining the Highway Traffic Act and enforcing the Highway Traffic Act. And we have seen a spike in what we call stunt driving. So that's anything 50 kilometers or more above the speed limit. And when that happens, police do have the authority to seize the vehicle. So we've seen quite a few instances of that.
Unfortunately, we have had another COVID-19 related death here in Halton, bringing our region's death toll to 23. 3 additional cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed since yesterday, while 5 more people have reported a full recovery. The total number of confirmed and probable cases in Halton since the onset is now 585. 2 of those cases have been confirmed in Amazon employees who work at the Milton warehouse. Amazon says they've followed strict protocols. Melissa Candelaria is standing by with more details. Melissa?
Thanks, Jessica. So yes, as you said, it has been confirmed that 2 employees from this warehouse in Milton have tested positive for COVID-19. We reached out to Amazon to get more details on this, and spokesperson Jen Crowcroft sent us an email with the following statement. She writes, "We are supporting the individuals who are recovering. We are following guidelines from health officials and medical experts and are taking extreme measures to ensure the safety of employees at our site. We are encouraging those who are unwell to stay home. We have also implemented proactive measures at our facilities to protect employees, including increased cleaning at all facilities, maintaining social distance in the fulfillment centers, and adding distance between drivers and customers when making deliveries." Now, Crawford also says in the email that when a COVID-19 is confirmed, they communicate that news to all their employees at the site. They alert any associate who's worked closely with a confirmed case and will ask them to self-quarantine for 14 days. Now, Amazon says they pay these employees during their time off as well. Other measures Amazon says they are doing to ensure the continued safety of their employees included wearing protective gear, disinfectant spraying, and temperature checks. Now, interestingly enough, Jessica, they say they are also working on scalable testing for the coronavirus. Now, I haven't heard any updates on how the employees who've tested positive are doing or if there are any more confirmed cases, but Amazon has assured me that they are closely monitoring the situation. With that, I'll throw it back to you.
Thanks, Melissa. There was a special sitting of the Ontario legislature today. I was able to connect with Oakville North Burlington MPP Effie Triantafilopoulos for more on the decisions made there today.
The legislature resumed a one-day sitting today. There were a number of MPPs there, but we were still practicing safe social distancing. And the purpose of getting together was to actually have its first question period that it hasn't had in these many months, along with passing the extension of the declaration of emergency until June the 2nd. Now, we've made very steady progress on the health and safety and providing measures to help Ontarians in terms of COVID. And we're beginning to see what I'd call the light at the end of the tunnel. The COVID numbers are starting to, in fact, decrease. So I think we've made some significant progress.
Now, even though the state of emergency has been extended, there are some slow reopenings of businesses. What kind of response have you been getting on that locally from your constituents?
So a lot of our constituents are small business owners. They live and work within our community, and so they're very concerned about how much longer the measures we have in place are going to continue. And so the government has a three-phased framework in place to be able to slowly, with a measured approach and with very safe precautions, start to reopen our economy. The Premier today announced that this Thursday, phase one of that reopening, in fact, will take place. So we'll have a much more detailed understanding of which businesses, what categories of businesses can in fact reopen.
Can you remind us again briefly about the three-stage approach and perhaps more specifically what stage one will look like?
We have a three-stage framework to allow for the gradual measured reopening of our businesses in our communities. The first stage, in fact, will be announced this Thursday, and it will focus on selected workplaces, smaller gatherings, allowing for the opportunity to be able to, in fact, test to see if this will work. And as we go along, we're going to be actually measuring the progress we make. And then stage two will have further openings, further measures around that. And then stage three will be the final phase where in fact we open up the economy completely. So that's really the plan, to take a very careful, measured approach. And as we go along at each stage, we'll test the results and try to ensure that the numbers will still remain low in terms of any potential COVID outbreak.
Okay, well, I want to thank you so much for connecting with me today, and we look forward to having you back on the show next week. Of course, not everyone is so sure that opening things back up again right now is the right decision. Your TV's James Bowler asked the opinion of Canadian doctor and immunologist Mark Cameron, who directly dealt with the SARS epidemic in Toronto nearly 2 decades ago.
I feel optimistic in terms of planning a return to some sense of normalcy. However, the US and Canada are still at the peak of their curves. So Canada is still adding cases every day to the case count, and it's still a linear part of our curve. We have slowed down the number of new cases every day, but that is still at its peak. So it's a little strange for me to be considering rapid removal of some of these more dramatic public health measures and get back to some sense of normalcy. It seems more difficult to plan that and to have some of those measures come off than just to wait a little longer until we are clearly down the other side of this pandemic curve.
Still, the province is slowly moving forward and opening things back up. And now that the province has reduced some restrictions on construction work, building is able to resume on the community centre at the Old Oakville Hospital site. Mayor Burton and Ward 3 Town and Regional Councillor Dave Giddings explain.
Let me guess, is the resumption of construction on the community center the top thing in your ward, or is it something else?
A number of them. Further to Councillor Duddock's comment in terms of parks and open space, that has settled down quite a bit. People have been getting their news from a number of different sources, and what it comes down to, people have realized, is be responsible and act responsibly. Common sense has a lot to do with it, so that has done away with a lot of those questions. But you're right, Mr. Mayor, in terms of construction. The community center construction was judged to be not an essential service, but that has changed. The construction company has got the equipment back, the crews are coming back, and so we'll see activity inside primarily. The outside is completed at this point. So we will see that restart. And along with construction in Ward 3, of course, downtown rebuilding of Lakeshore has been a big concern.
So the good news on the downtown is the premier never made that stop. He did make the community center stop, but over this past weekend, he relaxed the construction rules so that the community center could resume, and it is resuming. We are as eager as anybody to finish that, and I'm thrilled that there's this little ray of positive news in the construction world, which is that the downtown seems to be proceeding apace and on schedule.
Sheridan Central was officially launched today. This brand new state-of-the-art online portal for Sheridan College students will welcome over 7,000 full-time students next week for the spring and summer term. While this online platform will certainly be beneficial considering the social distancing measures currently in place, the development of this portal has been in the works since 2014. The Conservative Party of Canada plans to forge ahead with their leadership race, but Wellington-Halton Hills MPP Michael Chong explains that it's going to be done differently this time in order to adhere to those social distancing restrictions.
Both the leadership convention and the November policy convention have been canceled. So both of those conventions are no longer going to take place. The leadership election oversight committee restarted the leadership race about 2 weeks ago and established a number of deadlines. So first, the membership cutoff, the date by which people need to be members of the Conservative Party in order to vote in the leadership race, is now May 15th. We'll proceed with mail-in ballots as required by the party's constitution. And all those ballots will need to be into the party by August 21st. Shortly thereafter, the results will be announced as soon as the ballots are properly counted and examined by scrutineers. And the reason why it's so important to get a new leader is that the election of the leader of the party outside Parliament then triggers a whole bunch of changes for the parliamentary party inside Parliament. Once the party has elected the new leader outside Parliament, that leader then becomes the leader at some point of the parliamentary party, and then has to have the job of reorganizing the leader's office in Parliament. So the election of a new leader is just the start of a number of other processes that will start to take place in the parliamentary party so that we can get ready for the fall sitting.
The four candidates vying for the top spot are former Deputy Leader Peter MacKay, Toronto lawyer Leslyn Lewis, Durham MP Aaron O'Toole, and MP for Hastings, Lennox and Addington, Derek Sloan. Wondering who MP Michael Chong will support? He hasn't endorsed anyone just yet.
I've told all the leadership candidates that I want to hear what they have to say publicly, the kind of direction, the kind of vision that they have for the party before I make my decision about who I'm going to support. I do know this, that we need a leader who is going to build a much bigger Conservative Party that includes Canadians of all races, religions, and creeds, a party that's going to focus on creating economic growth and prosperity for all Canadians across all regions of this country. A party leader that is able to unite the party, and a party leader who is going to be able to deal with the difficult economic fallout of this pandemic. And so those are all the things that I'm looking for in the next leader, and that will be the criteria on which I base my decision.
Halton Police have certainly been busy throughout this pandemic. We're talking about dealing with COVID-19 related calls, making sure people are following social distancing restrictions, and even dealing with speedy drivers, as we mentioned earlier in the program. But despite it all, they managed to make time for some of their younger fans, especially on their birthday. Constable Ryan Anderson shares those details.
Look at that!
and if anyone who's been following our social media has probably seen, we do get requests for particular kids' birthday parties, and we certainly understand that any child. Usually, a birthday is probably their biggest day of the year. I know for my kids, they're not for a long time, but they ask every day how long until their birthday. So it's got to be disappointing for them to not be able to see their friends and family at their birthday. So yeah, we have had some parents reach out to us asking if police could drive by with lights and sirens just to try and add some added special to the day, and we've been able to accommodate quite a few of those requests. And if we're not busy, we will certainly make our best efforts to do that. It's one of the perks of the job. Speaking for myself, is when you get to see the excitement on the kids when they see. I understand they love the cars and the cruisers and the lights and the sirens, and we certainly enjoy accommodating that.
Thanks for being with us here on Halton News. We do need to take a short break, but we'll be right back with a local Olympic hopeful, hoping to get back out on that water sooner rather than later. Stay with us. Canadian sailor James Vahaz is an Olympic hopeful for 2024, and COVID-19 has certainly changed his training regime. With no boat or water access, he has to train on dry land on stationary bicycles and other home-based workouts. Your TV's Dan Hendry connected with Oakville's James via Skype at his Oakville home to learn more about how he's keeping positive.
So like I said, it was planning on being a massive year. We had just come back from, I had spent all of January in Miami training for the World Cup there, and then a lot of February in Melbourne getting ready for the World Championships there, and then competing in the World Championships. And then we were coming back from Melbourne, and we were at home for a little bit, kind of getting back into school, but we're quickly down in Florida again for a training camp that was supposed to just be us fine-tuning and getting ready for what was supposed to be the second half of the Olympic trials. So it was going to be a massive regatta in Spain at the end of March in Palma, America. And so we were actually in a training camp in Florida when we kind of heard the news, everything breaking out in around the world with COVID-19. And it was me and my roommate. He was one of my main training partners. We were sitting in a motel room in West Palm Beach on one of the days of our training camp, and we were watching President Trump's address about the COVID-19 situation, and we were kind of looking at each other, being like, well, first of all, are we okay here in the States right now? And then second of all, what's going to be going on with Palma? We're supposed to be heading over to Europe in a couple of days. So it was a big blow, and obviously everything happened really quickly, and we weren't able to go to Palma, and we had to make a mad rush for the border from Florida back up to Canada. But yeah, focusing on the positives is really a huge part of what we do. We always say, sailors have to have a short memory because, it's quite a high variance sport. So if you have a bad race, one bad race doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad sailor. So you need to quickly forget about all the bad things that are happening and focus on the positives. So we're really taking that into dryland training right now.
Taking a look at our local weather forecast now, we can look forward to full sunshine tomorrow, not a cloud in the sky, and a high of 13 degrees. Reaching that same temperature the next day, but those clouds will roll in and bring with them a 60% chance of showers. All the way up to 21 degrees on Friday. We'll have it feeling more like May, but that mix of sun and clouds does come with a chance of showers, and we're looking at rain for at least the first couple days of our Victoria Day long weekend. The Milton Chamber invites members and non-members alike to participate in the upcoming webinar called Supporting Canadians Through COVID-19, the latest government measures presented by Grant Thornton. Topics covered will include the latest information on CEBA registrations, the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy and the Canada Emergency Response Benefit, as well as the Commercial Rent Assistance Program and student benefits. To register, go to miltonchamber.com. The Milton Chamber of Commerce also invites you to their virtual community awards. Tomorrow night, they will announce their Entrepreneur of the Year at 6 p.m. and their Business Person of the Year at 7. You can watch live at youtube.com/Milton Chamber. Please note the gala reception at Granite Ridge Golf Club has been postponed due to COVID-19 and is now planned for September 18th. The S&P 500, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and TSX are all reporting losses today. Here's a look at our Market Watch. Big news from the Burlington Food Bank after this. Welcome back to Halton News right here on your TV. While the Burlington Food Bank has been helping hundreds of families in the city, they really do want to get the word out to more residents who could use their delivery service. And now they're able to get their name out there in a bigger way. Let's take a look.
Some of you maybe have noticed some of the bus shelters around town. Pattison Outdoor Marketing gave us a call, asked us if they could do something for us, and this is what they offered. So we just want to make sure that people know that we're around, that we do confidential and contactless delivery, delivered right to your door. We really want people to know that this is about getting your full groceries. We're giving not only your non-perishables, but your fresh produce, eggs, milk, whatever those things might be. We've gotten lots of contact back from various people who are getting the food and talking about how nice it is to feel like they're actually refilling their cupboards. And so we're just really proud of our team, really proud of the community that's been supporting us, and we're looking forward to continuing to support people. No matter how long this sort of goes, stay home, stay safe, and let us bring the food to you.
Unfortunately, during these stressful and uncertain times, incidents of domestic violence have increased dramatically. Halton Women's Place knows that neighbors, friends, and family members are crucial to helping survivors access the services they need. That's why they're offering a webinar this Friday at 1 p.m. completely free of charge. They want to teach you to recognize the signs of domestic violence and learn how you can help someone who's experiencing abuse, even with the current guidelines of physical distancing in place. For more information and to register, please visit haltonwomensplace.com. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to Halton News tonight. If you'd like to see more, you can visit us on yourtv.tv or follow us on social media at yourtvhalton. For Halton News, I'm Jessica Kading, and I thank you for watching.